No, there's another resolution here. Offered by Council Penta, 2013-496, be resolved the ongoing turmoil as to what is going on Channel 3 public access station be discussed. Council Penta.
Mr. President, this really wasn't my intent to get involved with this, but apparently we now know that something is really going wrong over there at Channel 3. Right now, I think if you put your TV on, all you'll see is the broadcasting of color bars without a message, and there's no programming that's going on over there. And if you go into looking into the contracts that take place here in the city of Medford, for example, with Comcast, the contract agreement says, pursuant to the City of Medford's agreement with Comcast Cable Television Renewal License, Section 6.3, Public Access Corporation, quote, the issuing authority, being the mayor, shall designate an entity to provide services to public access units as follows. The Comcast contract in Section 3 states, operates and maintain a public access studio and purchase and or lease equipment with the funds allocated for such purposes as found within Section 6.2. I believe that the city at this stage of the game has violated its obligation to the residents of Medford in this privately owned access channel, whatever you want to call it. The MCC practices and procedures in their own manual book states that the entity was created to provide the citizens of Medford with the resources and a dedicated cable channel on which to produce programs that generate a greater sense of community and enhance the quality of life for its members. Now, we know that we haven't seen this for a long period of time, and it's not ongoing. And just doing a quick perusal of the monies that cable TV subscribers pay on their monthly bill, combination between Comcast and Verizon, since Verizon is the new player in town, going back from May of last year, of 2012 to January 31st, the city of Memphis received $172,000 from Comcast and $35,000 from Verizon. That's a total of $208,000. $208,000. And from that $208,000, however it's supposed to be disseminated into the Channel 3 portion of how the 3% is allocated, it's going there. I don't know. You have a director that's getting paid for doing no work that's down there right now. You have a place that's being located on Riverside Avenue where allegedly a 2-year lease has been signed, but it's inoperable to have any public access programming. And I believe, Mr. Finn, you had sent out a response to a taxpayer today that you don't believe that at this time it can broadcast anything. Cablecast has been it's been set up by Comcast and Verizon, so I'm assuming that you were responding to a request that was made to you as it related to this particular location. But putting all of that aside, the fact of the matter is this. The issuing authority in this community is the mayor of this community. He has failed to do what he's supposed to do. Now, the city council probably has no input at all, let's put it that way, for the sake of the issuing authority, what the mayor can do. But this council can take a position and can take a stand. And I think it should take a position and a stand tonight. Because each and every month, every cable TV subscriber pays in their bill a portion to go to public access in this city for which public access is not taking place. And if, in fact, Cable Channel 3 did, in fact, take out a lease on Riverside Avenue, and it's a 2-year lease, and you can't have accessibility for its broadcasting or displaying, then there is something really wrong with not only management, but how this is all going down. Why the mayor is refusing to do anything about it, I don't know. The city paid $15,000 to a retired Judge Jackson to go in there a few years ago, write the report, for which they did. It was a scalding report on Channel 3 relative to a whole host of issues, but I think our city solicitor tried in the interim to do the right thing, to bring this full circle, to at least get some kind of headway on this, and it's not. I think the city council, on behalf of TV subscribers, needs to stand up and say, where are we going with this, Mr. Mayor? We have no TV3 broadcasting. All we get is color bars going down. Supposedly something took place at 5 High Street and the owner and this and that. You're going on to Riverside Avenue. The allegations are all over the place, but at the same time, the money still keeps coming in, and there are no results. Maybe Riverside Ave is not the best place to go. And maybe this thought process should have taken place. Maybe the mayor should stick us 2 cents into this particular thing like he wants to do for, like the swimming pool, and like he wants to do for the parking garage, and all these multi-million-dollar things. All he's got to do is go down there and just saying, hey, listen, guys, let's get your act straightened out here, because the people are paying for this, and it's going to come back. Now it's coming back to me because I'm the issuing authority. So with that being said, Mr. President, I would just like to have a resolution, go to the mayor of this community, and respectfully ask of him to resolve this issue once and for all on Channel 3, that they be in a place that can accommodate and house everything that's needed for a cable television, and at the same time, that the taxpayers' monies are being paid and being put to good
Not
use.
taxpayers, cable
The
subscribers.
cable TV subscribers' monies are being paid. Don't forget, you now have Verizon on board, as well as Comcast. It's two areas where monies are coming in from cable TV subscribers, and it's not being focused and realized in the directions that it should. And lastly, this isn't to, how can you say, point blame at anyone other than the fact that, unfortunately, the way that this city operates, and you have an issuing authority, which is the mayor, he just needs to get in there and resolve this once and for all. You can't stick your head in the sand on this thing. It's been going on for too long a period of time. I'm not going to talk about differences of opinion that people have on the board, off the board, who's for and who's against. I'm more concerned about Channel 3 not being broadcast with legitimate programming, offering it to the community. It's been off for a long period of time, and it just doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So with that being said, I'm going to ask my colleagues to forward the resolve that the mayor take immediate action to resolve the issue of housing Channel 3 in a place that can accommodate all technology necessary for a complete Channel 3 broadcasting studio.
On the motion of Council Penta? Yes, Councilor Camuso.
Just want to remind the councilor that it was just a few years ago that we had an opportunity to give Channel 3 a permanent home at the Swan School. And at the time, it was myself, Councilor Marks, and Councilor Carr that supported it, and it didn't come to fruition. If that came to fruition, maybe at this point, we wouldn't have all the issues that are out there with the having to move 2 or 3 times, so.
That's nice. Vice President Del Russo?
I just don't feel comfortable making this resolution, although I share Councilor Penta's concerns in many ways, given the fact that people are paying money and getting nothing. And I'm one of the people that's getting stiffed. However, I have no information on this. I don't know what's going on. I've not received an official report. I don't have any, I don't even know where they are. Someone said it's next to the Mexican place up the corner here. I mean, I don't know how you can operate some sort of operation out of a little storefront like that is beyond me. But maybe if the resolution were put in a way that asked the mayor to give us a report on the status of what's going on with that, I'd be very happy to support that resolution.
Amended.
So, Mr. Clerk, could you amend the resolution that the mayor kindly and swiftly give the council an accounting of the status of Medford TV3, both with regards to their ability to operate, their location, and their financial status?
What's the difference? It's the same thing. All right, on that motion as amended, Council Penta?
I would like to have the motion separated, because that's an entirely different theme than where I'm going. Because he is the issuing authority, he's the only one that can make resolution to resolve this particular matter. I hear what you're saying, but this has been going on for too long a period of time.
Name and address for the record.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Joseph Villione, 59 Garfield Avenue, Medford, Massachusetts, 02155. And as an access producer dating back to 1979, I strongly disagree with Councilor Camuso and his point of view. The Swan School is not the panacea. If you can't get an issue through, Councilor Camuso, then you put a new issue through. Stoneham has its own building. Stoneham would never have stood for...
Point of information.
Please, let me...
Point of information, Councilor Camuso.
I'm not so sure, Joe, if you were living up at the Woburn Post Office at the time, but in 1990s, we looked to combine some of the facilities in the early 2000s, and that's what I was referring to, the art center, which you often say, it should be an art center, and it should be the Chevalier in TV3. So we kind of think along the same lines when it comes to that, I think.
Thank you.
No, sir, we don't. I wasn't living in the Woburn Post Office, sir. Yes, I was living behind the Woburn Post Office. And then I lived in Woburn Center, and now I live here. And in the 90s, point of information, I cleaned up Woburn and Stoneham cable. Well, I don't care what they
Mr.
say.
Villione,
I have
please
a-
make your statement. Go ahead. Counselor.
Council President, he's interrupted
Go
me.
ahead.
Thank you. So now, Stoneham TV built their own building. They never would have stood for it from December 17th of 2012 to May 21 of 2013. They would never stood for no programming. What the town of Stoneham did was they bought computers that were mobile. So they had Final Cut Pro on them, and you could take them home, and you could do your editing at home while they had no facility. They were still broadcasting. They did not cheat the consumer and take the $200,000 that came from the city's response to my public records request. Mr. Camuso, Mr. Dela Russo, you know, if you don't know what's going on, ask. You're our elected official. We don't rely on the citizens to do the heavy lifting. You're an elected official, and shame on you if you can't ask a question. Go down to TV3 and ask a question. Ask the issuing authority, because we depend on you. You have a long standing in this community. The Dela Russo name is very well known. You can far more effectively talk to the issuing authority than I can, than anyone can in this community. So we depend on you, Councilor Dela Russo. If you want our vote, don't sit there and tell us you don't know, because there is a report from Judge Jackson Thompson, which I got from Solicitor Rumley again this morning. You can read the violations of the agreement. Now, the agreement is an agreement, and we're paying money for a service. If the city council can't provide a service, you shouldn't get your $27,000 a year. If a city councilor can't pay attention to a constituent, but he takes that $27,000, that's cheating. Just like a TV station that's not broadcasting. Now, this is very important. Saturday, I was at Bestsellers Cafe. We all love bestsellers. We know that they were in limbo. I was taping Kitty Connection. At 7:15 tonight, I was at Bestsellers Cafe taping, with that camera, Dennis Lehane. I said, Mr. Lehane, you know, you're going to be speaking to a packed room, and you're overlooking the Mystic River. What do you think? He goes, I have some experience with the Mystic River. Mr. Lehane was at 40 Canal Street in 1999, as was the great, late Ray Manzarek of The Doors we lost yesterday. I interviewed Mr. Manzarek. I've interviewed all the Doors, except for Jim Morrison, but my girlfriend knew him very well. We have that tape, 40 Canal Street, but it's not being broadcast. Why is Winchester Equipment broadcasting for Medford? Why is Made in Medford, a YouTube platform, supposed to satisfy the requirement? It's all in here. Any citizen can go to Mark Rumley's office. He was very generous. We had a very great conversation earlier today. Get this report, because it did cost $4,000 for this, I believe, $11,000 for the audit from Melanson and Heath, and it was scathing. We have a station, Councilor Camuso, that has a board of directors that don't know Access Television. Joe Fortunato knows Access Television. I know Access Television. There's a lot of people that know Access Television. Chris Donovan. Robert Skerry was here earlier. I talked to him. These are the individuals who should be working together for this community, because $200,000 is an awful lot of money when you're talking about the swimming pool issue, accessibility that Dr. Wood talked about. I can't believe, Councilor Camuso, that you think $200,000 is chump change and we should just take it on the chin.
Point of information, Councilor Camuso.
The gentleman is evidently hearing things that haven't been said, because I never once said that, so just for the record.
For the record, thank you.
$200,000 is a lot of money. You as a city councilor have an obligation to me and to everyone else in this community, 56 to 57,000 people, to find out where that money's going. Does the executive director get $48,000 a year? Does he have a side job, a full-time job? Is he not working? Why are we paying $48,000 a year? Is it all going to him? These are the issues. Now, you can go to Martha Coakley's website. You can go to the IRS forms. You can see the money that's being laid out. We need specifics now. We're not getting the product. We are not getting a product, yet there's a lot of us There's people in this room who have been going over to Winchester. Councilor Penta was over in Winchester. You can ask him how well run Winchester is. Malden, the party was jam-packed. There were people at the Malden party. There was music all day long, tons of food. It just kept coming in, and people had a great time. There is something, I'm going to conclude by saying this. In this Judge Jackson report is the policy and procedures of TV3. I'd like to read into the record just a couple of sentences which exactly put it all in order for us. Medford Community Cablevision was created to provide the citizens of Medford with the resources and a dedicated cable channel on which to create and produce programs that generate a greater sense of community and enhance the quality of life for its members. Now, if any city councilor here thinks that our quality of life has improved and that there's a greater sense of community when the police have to be called time and again because there are disputes, then maybe I don't understand. Maybe I just don't understand, can't comprehend. Or maybe they're not doing what they promised the community they should do. The mayor has an obligation to look at the violations I brought to his attention, rescind the agreement. We'll put a brand new access station together, and in 48 hours we'll be up and running with some of the best local programming on more than just Kitty Connection, on the Mystic River, on all sorts of Medford issues. If you want to see that, Councilor Camuso, don't give me this Swan School thing. I'll deliver access for you. You know that. You've been on my show. You've seen my results. You were on 24 stations. You reached millions of people, far beyond the Medford borders. Thank you.
Councilor Camuso.
Thank you, Mr. President. And just one question to the person at the podium. Where would you put it in Medford right now? Right now, if you were the executive director, where would you put it up, and how much would it cost you to make the move?
I love the question, and there's an individual sitting here who knows exactly where I want it. I want it on or near or in the Chevalier. Now, there is space in the Chevalier.
So, go ahead.
Okay, in Winchester, sir, we pay $1 a year. $1 a year, so we're not moving to 5 High Street, 40 Canal Street, 39 Everett Street, 85 George P. Hassett Drive, and now 32 Riverside Ave. I've just given you...
What's 39 Everett Street?
That's Frank Polari's address, where they moved it. They moved the official legal address after he lost 40 Canal Street, which was a beautiful facility. They then claimed the legal address was 39 Everett Street, President Polari's house, then 85 George P. Hassett Drive in a closet, then to 5 High Street after they were, gone. And they're always off the air. That's the point. If it's one excuse after another. You can keep it running even if you have no facility. But to answer your question, you give me $30,000 right now, you give me the Chevalier Theater and strike a deal, a city-owned building, I'll get stuff up and running for you. And then we'll talk. I'll do it, sir.
Thank
And
you.
I'll have a great team together.
And Mr.
Thank
President,
you. Yes, Councilor
maybe-
Camuso.
Can we get an update from the station manager? Because there has been a lot of rumors and innuendo through voluminous emails going out and fraudulent web pages and things like that. So could we at least get an update on where things are really at?
Sure. Sure. Daniel Sino, 75 Station Landing. I'm also the Executive Director of Medford Community Cablevision, otherwise known as TV3 Medford. I can appreciate a lot of the concerns and things that are being said tonight. We have not yet released a formal press release on any of the information that's going on with TV3 right now. We do plan on doing that in the future, which would then have answered all the questions that are being asked tonight. However, maybe I can clarify a few things for you, and I guess for starters, almost, for the people watching at home, almost all the information that was presented tonight, either by the council or any of the speakers, is for the most part all inaccurate or based on speculation. So I can probably comment on a few things to get people in the right direction of where TV3 is and what happened over the last couple of months. I guess the biggest clarification is that the TV3 did move from its original location of 5 High Street in Medford Square. We moved sometime in late March this year. And really, I can't comment too much on the reasons why, other than the fact that the reason for the move was beyond our control, and it had to do with issues with our physical property that we were in. It was a decision made by the board for pretty much the best option and the best decision for the company and for everyone involved with TV3 Medford. So this was not a planned move. It wasn't something that we could plan out and have a lot of time to figure out where the construction was going to take us and where the technical specifications was going to bring us during this moving process. It really was done somewhat overnight. Another thing that had come up in that we haven't provided programming for, I think that someone had presented the date of December till today. That's incorrect. The actual broadcast end date was on March 31st of this year. So it's been all of April that no programming has aired, and part of May, well, what we are in right now, half of May. What people will find on the station right now is either black on Verizon or color bars. That's a signal not being transmitted by TV3. That's a signal originating in Verizon and Comcast's head-end location where they transmit the signal throughout the community. The reason for the delay on the actual getting the broadcast back up in the air on these two channels is actually having to do with a technical specification and a technical issue. We're trying to get us connected to the iNet in Medford. We've worked with Comcast and Verizon since way before the move even took place in March to come up with the best solution on getting us connected in the most timely manner. Comcast and Verizon has been extremely supportive and extremely helpful in getting us to where we have to in order to be connected to the community again. Again, bending a lot of their rules in terms of trying to get people connected fast, trying to come up with the most affordable options for us. They have done their part, and they are working with us 100% to get us on the air as soon as possible. So the decision to be on black or on color bars or whoever else presented when you look in the channel isn't a decision by us to just say, let's shut down the station until we're open. It's a actual technical issue that's being worked out and getting us connected through the city's iNet in the location that we're in. The iNet is basically the system that connects different telecommunications throughout the community, fiber optic cable, copper lines, telephones, things like that. So right now we're battling a sort of different aging portions of the iNet where some parts are not compatible with the connectivity of our broadcast signal. In the location that we were in, things were a lot easier connecting than the location that we're currently in. So in terms of the reason why we had to move, it had to be done as soon as possible, and we couldn't really wait around. We couldn't do as much planning as we would have liked to get us to where we would want to be right now. But other than that, that's sort of the questions people have right now. The process that we are in right now is working with the cable companies to get us back on the air as soon as possible. And we made a lot of progress this week, and it's going to be happening sooner rather than later, which I'm very happy to announce that. But TV3 is working right now to actually construct a new studio from the ground up. So with the goal being having a studio that's going to be state-of-the-art, better and much more improved than what we had in the past. Our past location, we were there for almost 9 years, so we can call that a good run. It was a 9-year run. We wanted it to be 10 years, but we hit 9 years, and we're committed to another 2 years in our new location, and wherever that might bring us in the end, we'll make those decisions when the time comes. For the most part, TV3 is working hard right now, constructing a studio from the ground up. I'm not sure if anyone here or who is watching has the knowledge and expertise to understand how a television studio could actually be built. It's a very difficult process. It's an expensive process, and the money is going toward good use, is what I can say, to be able to provide something beneficial and useful to the community like we have never in the past. So any other comments about what the staff is doing or the executive director, I guess directed towards me, is saying I'm not doing my job or I'm being paid not doing any work. I can assure you that I'm working every day at the location and working with contractors to get the studio up and running as fast as possible and to provide a service that is going to be top-notch in the future. I wouldn't put my name on it if the studio was going to be something less than what we had in the past. We can only get better from here. So ironing out the details, moving is not an easy process. Anyone who's never moved their home knows it's a difficult process. Try moving a studio that's worth over $1 million in assets. So That's where we are. Any questions I can the answer.
Thank you. Council Longo Curran.
Thank you, President Miyako. So is the new location on Riverside Ave?
It is, yes.
What's the address?
It's 32 Riverside Ave.
Do you know the square footage?
It's comparable to our original square footage. It's a very different layout.
With regards to the old, just to clear up some rumors that I've heard.
Sure.
There was a flood at 5 High Street?
I can't comment on that at this point. It's a matter of a legal issue at this point, so.
That was my next question. Rumors are swarming that TV3 is suing 5 High Street. Is that correct?
I can't comment on that.
No. No. It's not a matter. Council Longo Curran.
With regards to how many current board members?
I believe there are 10 board members right now active.
And what's the scheduled, I mean, it's been 2 months that you've been off the air. What's the scheduled time frame for getting back on the air?
The time frame right now, I can't give a specific date or a really accurate timeline. It's going to be as soon as Comcast or Verizon is able to hook us up. This week, it comes right down to them actually installing a device that's going to be able to communicate with our equipment. So we are ready for them, and in a sense, they're ready for us. It's just a matter of bridging the two together, and it's going to be soon.
Okay. That's it for right now. I'm sure all my colleagues have questions.
Thank you. Council Caraviallo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dan, I know you said that, that you've got some litigation going on.
I didn't say that. No.
Well, you wouldn't-
Just say I can't comment on it.
Okay, you would alluded to that, all right?
Oh.
Is there any talk about reimbursing the citizens of Medford for the cable fee that they've been paying while there's been no cable on? Whatever they pay per month?
There's no reimbursement for the subscribers' money. The way the subscriber fees go is basically they fund public, they on their cable bill.
Okay, so how much does the cable fee go every month to the cable station? How much per month?
Well, if you're asking about reimbursement, it'd be about 35 cents per person.
Okay, so, well, if my phone wasn't working for 3 months, I would want some reimbursements.
The money doesn't necessarily say that it's there to get a signal on the air 24 hours a day. It's there to provide public access
Okay,
television.
but
So the money.
but you said in your own statement that due to a situation down at 5 High Street, you weren't able to provide public access, correct? Because of whatever happened down there, correct?
We were unable to operate as normal.
Okay, so you're unable to operate, so in other words, there's been no broadcasting, correct?
There had been times of no broadcasting.
Okay, so currently there's no broadcasting.
Currently,
Okay, so-
there's no broadcasting on that.
So during this time, don't you think that the residents of the community should be reimbursed for whatever they pay? Or a credit on their bill?
You're asking my opinion on
Well,
something rather than what is actually legal?
The money is being paid. The money's being paid out. I'm not trying to,
I can give you my opinion, and then I give you the real.
the money's being paid out. And so every month, cable is paying the city of Medford whatever they pay them.
The money is going to provide the money to
Yeah,
operate
but-
public access television.
That's not the question I'm asking you.
The construction and
No,
building.
no, that's not the question I'm asking you. The question I'm asking you is that you said that there hasn't been a signal for a few months, correct?
1 month.
It's been more than 1 month, then? Been more than 1 month? Okay, so aren't the citizens of the community entitled to get what they paid for?
They're paying for the
So
building.
that should be part of, if you're involved in some kind of litigation, that should be part of your litigation, that the citizens of the community get their money back.
Well, I never said we were part of any
Okay,
litigation. I said I
okay.
can't
but-
comment. I
okay.
can't
Well, then what's
comment.
the secret then?
The secret is, at this point, we're not allowed to release that information.
Okay, so then there must be some litigation going on.
If you want to speculate and continue to speculate
Okay,
on lies and the rumors.
But at some
you
point,
can.
the citizens of the community
Yeah.
have been paying for a service they're not getting.
The service that they are paying for is the building of the public access studio.
Okay, but there's been
It's
no
all-
signal for them to watch. That's what I'm asking you. There's been nothing on
Okay,
the
well-
stage. If I go onto Channel 3 right now, what am I going to see?
There's no sense in arguing whether or not
But
there will be
listen-
reimbursement or not. The answer is no, there will be no reimbursement. That's the answer, basically.
There should be. I mean,
Well, you can,
I mean, if, you know, if you had your phone in your house and it didn't work, would you pay the bill every month?
you can't.
No,
compare-
I'm serious.
You can't compare the two, you just can't.
Okay, so tonight if you go home and there's no cable TV, and there's no if you have no cable TV for the whole month of March, are you gonna pay your bill at the end of the month? You're gonna say, hey, I'm not paying my bill at the end of March.
Then you don't have to pay your bill, don't pay your bill. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Again, but I say,
You can call
the people have
Comcast
been
and say
paying
you
for a
wanna pay your
service
transfer.
they haven't been receiving through no fault of your own. I understand there was a situation down where there was a flood or whatever happened down there, and I'm not saying it's your fault, but again, the citizens have been paying for nothing.
35 cents last month, yes.
35 cents, so all that money should be going back to the community.
Well, I guess anyone's more than welcome
And
to call.
and litigation, to say, if you guys are litigating something,
Never said we're
this
litigating.
should be part of your litigation.
If there was a litigation, perhaps it could be.
Okay, well,
Not
perhaps
sa-
it should be.
Not saying there is litigation, not saying that it would ever be part of it.
Then what's what's the secret?
The secret is.
What's the secret? I mean, you're saying you're not litigating, you're not, so why can't you say what's happening down there?
Because we're not ready to release any of the information. It's besides any point right now at this point.
But I think if you guys are litigating, a refund should be made to the community as part of the litigation, if there is some. Do you agree with that?
I can't agree one way or the other on that because it's not how it works. It's not like you pay 35 cents to get public access television. You pay 35 cents because Comcast said on your bill a portion of that money goes to fund.
But I do pay the 35 cents.
Well,
I know 35 cents isn't a lot of money, but
really nickel and
but
dime
35 cents times 30,000 people is a lot of
If you really wanted
money.
to nickel and dime it down to how much you actually should be reimbursed for TV3 not being on the air for a month, you would have to first take the 35 cents and cut it in three for the 3 public access stations in Medford.
Right, that's fine.
Government,
That's-
educational, and public access.
Take
Then-
that money and
then you'd have-
take that money and donate it to the high school TV station.
I don't understand. There's no.
I say,
understand
if
the
there is reimbursement, and you say, you can't cut it up, or you don't want to, I say, if there is some kind of reimbursement, give that money to the high school TV station, let them use it. Again,
I'm really trying to follow you, and I'm not
No, but
following at all.
you-
It's like
You're
comparing
confusing
apples
me.
and oranges, really, to it all. I mean,
the bottom line is, we're
subscribe-
paying for a service we're not getting.
Well, you are getting it. You are getting a
We're
public
getting,
access.
we're getting lines on our TV.
That is not the full.
And it's not your fault
I
that we
know,
got a
I know,
problem down
I'm
there.
not taking it personally. I'm trying to explain to you that in the way the contract is written, it does not say that that is the sole element to whether or not the public access is being
Okay, well,
provided to the city. It encompasses a large amount of things that public access, such as the facilities, such as programming.
Okay, but there's been no facility, because the facility's been down.
In the money that's, of the subscribers.
So I'm assuming you start paying rent at 5 High Street at some point.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so,
We're in a new location.
You're in a new
It's
location.
entirely, we're gone from 5 High Street.
Okay.
But the money that subscribers pay
but
goes to fund
the
public
citizens
access.
weren't able to use 5 High Street either, because it was flooded, or whatever happened down there.
I can't, I mean, if these are the things.
And again, I understand you had no control over the flood that happened down there, but, and I'm assuming you are gonna litigate, and if you do litigate, there should be some reimbursement back to the community.
I guess we can take that under advisement and present that somewhere.
It shouldn't be under advisement, it should be,
I'm not sure where
it should
to
be done.
present it. Yeah.
Not advisement, done. Because we paid for it. And I say, if the flood wasn't your fault, let the insurance company, let someone else pay for it. But let the citizens of the community get their money back. I know 35 cents isn't a lot of money, but 35 cents times 30,000 people is a lot of money. And I say, take that money and either use it at your station or use it at give it to the school station, let them use it.
Councilor Camuso.
Thank you, Mr. President. One thing is obvious. The issuing authority, which is the mayor, needs to get this under control. Whether it's TV3, whether it's a station that the gentleman behind here starts, he's got to use his connections to get Comcast and Verizon at the table in here and getting some sort of feed into a building, whether it's 35 Riverside Ave, whether it's the Chevalier Auditorium, or whoever he deems necessary to be the people that should be running the public access station. Has the mayor been trying to help you guys out, get the technical end of the side fixed with Verizon and Comcast? Because he can pick up the phone and get the Greater Boston government rep on the line.
Yeah, the mayor has been extremely supportive, and if it wasn't for the mayor in City Hall working with us and the Verizon, we would be talking about a connectivity time of much later than what we expect right now. I mean, things have been done to be able to push this forward, is what I can say.
Does the mayor know of the lawsuit?
I've never commented on any lawsuit.
Does the mayor know more than you're telling us tonight?
I've not spoken to the mayor about any of this. The people that speak with the mayor is the board of directors of TV3, and I've never personally communicated in terms of what has happened in the past and what goes on in the future with the mayor.
Mr. President?
All right, Councilor Russo?
Yeah, the bottom line is, TV3 issue has been a longstanding issue in this community. Some people love it, other people don't. Some people like Channel 25, other people don't. Some people like Channel 7, other people don't. The bottom line is, the mayor is the issuing authority. He is the person that signs the license for TV3 to operate. Currently, it's TV3. This city council doesn't have any jurisdiction. We ask questions, but people have to understand that. I mean, we all get stopped on the street. What's going on with this issue, that issue, this issue, that issue? But ultimately, it's the executive director who works for the board, and you do your job on a daily basis, and if other people had a station that had the legal obligation through the mayor, until the mayor decides what he wants to do, TV3's the show in town. No pun intended. People have to understand that. But I'm glad to see that at least he's working to get Verizon and Comcast to do their end, which will eventually help the current issued license, which is TV3, up and running. Because that's what people deserve. Whether it's your show, whether it's Kitty Connection, whether it's Dr. Abe's, whether it's Golden Memories with Mr. Fiorello that was played many years ago. The bottom line is, it's a public access channel, and Dan, quite frankly, I think we all have to put this in perspective. If TV3 wasn't always a bone of contention, and it's such a minor issue in the scheme of things in this community, whether people want to believe it's the ultimate end-all, be-all in city government, when we're running a city government like this, the public access station priority is down low. But the fact of the matter is, this is no different than any other entity, whether it's government. Our DPW yard had structural problems. We had to get out and move to Commercial Street. Our police station, the men and women, are working in deplorable conditions. We have to get them a new place. You can't talk about what happened. People can suspect that there was some sort of structural problem that might have been a health issue based upon people reporting to the Board of Health that the place was this and that and everything else. But the fact of the matter is, as long as Michael McGlynn wants TV3 to operate in this community, it's going to operate. That's the bottom line, and people have to understand that. And Councilor Caviello is not wrong when he says people should get a refund, but if there is a lawsuit, that's something that your attorney should look to 5 High Street to give back to the ratepayers somehow, and that's a valid point. That's just hopefully you get up and running soon. I have the utmost faith in you that you'll go up and running pretty soon. But the bottom line is, whether other persons that spoke this evening want to believe it or not, there's one person that signs that contract. It's not the Cable Commission, Joe. It's the mayor, Michael McGlynn.
Thank you. Councilor Penta?
Yeah, Mr. Sano, you indicated that you folks moved in late March, and you basically said this was done as an overnight move. That's what you said. That's the term that you used. And then you also indicated that you're not going to speculate on lies and rumors. Now, you heard here tonight that I don't know what you consider to be lies and rumors other than comments that were made or beliefs, trying to get some answers. So I don't like the idea that you think that comments made here tonight were lies. And we all know that what you're calling a rumor, of the lawsuit between you picking up, your organization picking up and moving in the middle of the night because supposedly of a flood water damage in the basement and and the equipment getting ruined. No, you can't tell me that didn't happen, because it did happen, and the City Hall knows it happened, and the Board of Health knows it's happened. So it's no great big secret. Whether you're suing them or not suing them, or whether it's in the process, something is going on. But I agree with Councilor Caviello. It's not the 35 cents per person. Well, let's just talk about the last 6 months. Strike that, from May 1st of last year to this January 31st of this year. Cable TV subscribers paid $170,134 to cable TV, and Verizon paid TV3 $35,551. That's $208,355. Where is that money? Tell me where that money is. You're the station manager, so don't tell me you don't know where the money went.
The $208,000 that we received in revenue this year from Verizon and
No,
Comcast,
as of January 31st of this year.
that is our annual operating budget. That
No,
goes.
this is only for 6 months. Your annual operating budget's got to be double that. Because that's 6 months.
So what is the value after 6 months? Because our annual operating budget this year is $196,000. That's our operating budget. That's the amount of money that we received in 1 year period. So I don't know where you're getting your other figures from.
City Hall.
Well, City Hall hasn't cut us a check for the rest of the money then.
So
At that
you're
point.
saying
I
that,
I just did the budget as of 3 weeks ago, and the total amount of money that we received was $196,000.
so you're saying that the
Which
city of
means-
Medford cuts you a budget of $196,000 for 12 months of the year. Is that what
I'm
you're
not
saying?
saying that that's what they normally cut me. I'm saying that's based off of the revenue from the subscribers of Comcast.
For 6 months or a year?
Which, for 1 year, was $196,000. 1
Okay.
year.
Well, the records at City Hall say the TV through Comcast, they paid you folks their bill in proportion to 15, 16, and 3, was from 5/1 of January, May 12th, May 1st of last year to January 31st of this year, $170,000 from Comcast and $35,000 from Verizon. That's $208,000. No, it's TV3. It's TV3. It says
Well,
TV3.
I'm-
But putting that aside,
Well, either way, to answer that right there, I haven't looked at those records, and I can tell you exactly what the amount of money is. It's $196,000 that we budgeted this year, and that's the amount of money that we received this year. So I guess thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'll have to ask the accountant for the actual figures that we brought in,
Okay.
to figure out what's going on.
and number two, I want to go back to what Councilor Caviello alluded to about paying the subscribers back. The City of Medford has an issuing authority, designates the entity, which is Channel 3, to provide services to public access. If you look on your cable TV bill, it says TV, it's a public access TV, okay? So you do have an obligation to provide it, not to build it, but to provide it. And since you're not providing it because you're building it, I think there should be a refund. And in the damage clause with the cable company that you guys have with whoever your insurance company is, or hires soon, that damage should be in there for the 2 months that you haven't been operating. I mean, that's just plain, pure business sense. So how much does it cost to do this move?
The move is not complete, so I do not know the
Well,
actual
what's the
total.
budget that's been appropriated for the move?
I
You're the station manager, you should know this.
I'm not allowed to provide that at this
What do
moment.
you mean you're not allowed to provide it?
don't
I'm a
have-
subscriber.
I
My
would-
35 cents a month is paying your salary and is paying to Channel 3 Public Access.
I would be providing you with an inaccurate number if I was able to give you a number at this point.
Dan, you're the station manager. Don't
I'm
play dumb,
fully
please.
aware. I'm not
You get
playing dumb with you.
$196,000 a year.
Yep.
You must know what it's going to cost you to move from
Okay.
5 High Street there.
Okay, if we know budgeting and accounting, $196,000 for our budget for 1 year does not go toward the move. That's our operating budget. So any other money that we budget for the move comes off an entirely different budget. So $196,000.
Oh, you have another budget over and beyond the $196,000.
No, $196,000 is the amount of money that we received from Comcast this year and Verizon this year. That is an operating budget. So I do not, I actually work the operating budget for the year, which includes things like utilities, salaries, rent, services, insurance, legal. It does not include the money that was budgeted for a move. I don't have the actual
Well, who's
figure
going to
of
pay
it.
for the move? Where's that money coming from?
The money is money that TV3 has that we've,
Well, how could you have it if you just got through, I mean, are you sitting on a surplus over there of money?
it's not a surplus, it's money that's budgeted every year.
Well, did you have money budgeted for a move? Because this happened overnight, according to you. This is an overnight move. This is a very expensive ordeal we're talking about, and I
You're-
disagree
you're
with
asking-
Counsel Camuso.
You're asking me
What-
questions that I can't answer.
But
And if I
why? You're the
provi-
station manager.
I did not budget a move. So we have a team of 10 other people who are board of directors who are actually in charge of the finances of the company. I'm answering questions in terms of what we...
So if you're $196,000 a year,
I'm just trying to clarify the answer to your question.
Dan, $196,000 a year, how much of that do you spend?
I am trying to clarify the answer to your
How
question.
much do you spend of the $196,000 a year?
$196,000.
You spend the whole $196,000? That includes your salary?
Yes.
Everybody else's salary?
Yes,
Who
it
else?
does.
How many people are salaried over there?
Three employees right now.
There's 3 of you?
Yep.
Okay. Full-time?
Yes. My answers to your questions tonight have to do with the status of TV3, where we are and what we're doing, what happened to TV3. I am not the person to ask about the finance of TV3. We have 10 other people who represent the finance of TV3. So instead of speculating and creating rumors and asking questions that I can't answer, any one of you are more than welcome to...
This is not creating rumors. This is not lies, and this is not speculating.
Well,
These are hard, cold
We
questions.
could go back to the records of what you said earlier tonight. I think I pointed out 5 or 6 things that you actually said that were, you had no actual proof or anything that you actually said.
Of what? Give me for instance.
I don't remember.
Well, you just said 5 or 6. You should have that in the top of your head. You don't even have one. All you're doing, Dan, please. You know, you may think this is a joke. I don't think it's a joke.
No
Because
one
I
is
haven't talked
making
about
this a
this in a
joke.
long time.
I'm
You have
answering,
cable TV subscribers, people are paying that every single month, and they're not getting what they're paying for. That's number one. Number two, and more importantly, you're telling me that if you're getting $196,000 a year from Verizon and Comcast, and that's only your operating budget, you can't even tell me how much it's going to cost for this move. So if you have $1 million worth of equipment, supposedly, and you're transferring it from High Street, 5 High Street, where you may be having a lawsuit, who knows, and moving it over to 32 Riverside Avenue, are you going to have the ability to broadcast a complete and fully equipped Channel 3 studio? Yes or no?
yes.
You will. So you will be able to broadcast in and out, so people will not have to go someplace else and come back. Is that what you're saying?
At this
No.
point, I don't understand the question.
Okay. Can somebody come down there and do a live broadcast at 32 Riverside
As
Avenue?
of this moment right now,
No, when it's completed.
we will be able to in the future, yes.
You will be able to do a
We will be.
complete live broadcast.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Counsel Longo Curran.
Just thank you through the chair. Can we be provided a copy of the budget you did in the last couple of weeks?
You can request it from the board of directors, and I believe we do have we actually have a board of directors meeting that is open to the public and to the members of TV3.
If we could,
Hardly anyone ever
To the
attends those
chair.
meetings,
Request of the
but
Board of Directors of the Budget, sure.
what's
budget.
that?
Put that down there, Mr. Clerk. Offered by Counsel Longo Curran.
Yeah, anyone who's part of TV3 is welcome to stand on our meetings and discuss where we're going in the future, finance, current status. I wish more members would participate in those meetings so that people are more on the same page.
All right, thank you. The lady behind you'd like to, oh, I'm sorry, Counsel Marks.
Dan, what's your current membership right now?
Before we closed in March, we were probably about 136 members.
36 members. Is that number up or down from last year?
I believe overall it's up. We haven't gone down ever in the last 5 years, so it's only gone up. I can't say from in 1 year period that went up a significant amount. It pretty much stayed the same, but within 2 year period, it had gone up a significant amount.
And what about programming? Has programming increased over the last several years, or is it?
As of last year, we had the most number of original programs produced in Medford in the history of Medford Access.
Roughly how many?
13 original series.
13 original series? And
And,
those are up on for this year too, or?
That was part of this year as
This
well.
year's
yeah.
budget.
Programming, membership had all been up within the last 5 years. It's part of a 5-year plan to increase and connect to people in new and innovative ways to technology. So plan has worked, and we plan on continuing that plan to get more programming to the station. And
Mr. President, just if I could, and I've stated this a dozen times, and it has nothing to do with Channel 3, and it has nothing to do with any other people that want to get active in Channel 3. The franchise fees that are collected from the taxpayers, the ratepayers of this community, should be going back to operate community access in this community, whether it's Channel 3, whether it's the government channel, or whether it's the school channel, should go back to operate those 3 channels. However, what's taking place right now, Mr. President, is out of the 5% that's being collected from the ratepayers, only 2% is going back to operate access, community access in this community. The other 3% is going back into the city coffers. And that's the issue at hand that I see, Mr. President. That money, the intended use for the franchise fee is not to go back to offset the city coffers. I'm not paying my franchise fee to give the city a hidden tax. I'm paying that franchise fee to operate community access in this city. And that's not taking place right now, Mr. President. And that's an issue that needs to be looked at. If we're gonna look and say, hey, well, you have $200,000 a year, what do you spend on and so forth? What's the city spending the 3% that they're getting on? Under the guise of a franchise fee for community access. Why do I have to pay the city a hidden tax? That's all it is. It's a hidden tax. If we want to know what we're getting out of Channel 3 for being off a month and a half, we should be asking the mayor, Mr. Mayor, what are we getting out of the 3% that's going back into the city coffers? What are we getting, Mr. Mayor, for that? What are we getting? We don't know what we're getting for that. So I think these are the things that we have to take a look at. Although the mayor is the one that signs the contract and so forth, these are the things that we should be talking about on behalf of the residents of this community, because people aren't aware of that. People aren't aware that special legislation was filed 20 years ago in order to circumvent the law and take franchise money and put it into the city coffers. People aren't aware of that. Because I would bet you bottom dollar, most people would say, I don't want my money going back into the city coffers. Either put it back in my pocket or pay for community access, which was the original intention. Not back to the city. As far as I'm concerned, that's only a hidden tax. It's another one of those hidden taxes that government has. And another tax that you don't have to explain. It's easy to hit someone in the pocket when they're paying their franchise fee, because you can't even figure out what your bill says in the back of it. Try to figure out your bill and what percentage goes where. It's next to impossible. But those are the issues we should be looking at. And yes, the mayor should be accountable on what's happening at that station. Whether something's happening or not, or whether people are unhappy with programming or there's not enough local program, whatever it might be, the mayor should be held accountable. Like every other board in this community, the mayor should be held accountable. He's the issuing authority, Mr. President, and he should be held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Marks, just real quick, and I do agree with a lot of what you have to say, and I think it's really important to realize that the franchise fee does include all 3 stations that that the subscriber fee goes toward. And I know it's really easy to look at TV3 and scrutinize them right now because this would sort of have the cloud over us because we're not fully operating the way we normally have in the past. But you got other things to look at, like for instance, why does the government channel have bulletin board slides from 2012 still running? There's a lot of lack of oversight all around. So and I agree that if it looks like something in terms of see where the money is being spent and all, it has to be with all the stations, not just TV3. Look at how money is being spent. To leave it off on a positive note, TV3 is going to be this year filming at the Field of Dreams, the annual American Cancer Society's Relay for Life on, I believe, June 1st or June 1st and 2nd next weekend, or 2 weekends from now. So hopefully we get to see some of you here. Anyone who's watching, come on down to the Field of Dreams. TV3 will be operating, and hopefully be one of the first things we get back on the air. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Camuso.
Just to Dan. Dan, while the mayor's working with Comcast and Verizon to get you up and running, have you guys talked to the school department or the government channel to piggyback if there's programming that's made already that you want to get out there and things of that nature? Because there's no reason why we shouldn't be working all together on all 3 stations for that matter. Something to think about.
I agree. I'm not entirely sure to the length of the conversation that it went in terms of trying to sort of have a temporary fix on using the other stations. I know that, without really commenting, there had been some friction in some questionable aspects in terms of how we'd actually work that out, and whether or not it was actually worth working out and just get the issue fixed sooner. Yeah.
At least, so everyone knows, at least the mayor's at the table trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So that's a,
Yeah,
That's a good thing.
I wouldn't be able to say, he's doing what he has to do to.
no,
get it,
exactly.
you know,
And
yeah.
as the
I don't-
issuing authority to all three stations,
Right.
that's his job.
Exactly. I can't sit here and say that he hasn't done what he's supposed to do. He has done what he's supposed to do, and for the most part, I'm
I
very
think the
supportive.
biggest thing that we can use him as a resource with this particular matter is getting on the phone with Verizon. He can pick up the phone and call the top managers in the Northeast, the government relations people, and get it done, so.
Yes, we know that.
And Comcast.
All right, Counsel Penta?
Just one quick question, last question. When was the last time you were audited, Channel 3 audited?
I don't know, it might have been before my time. It was probably the audit that you were talking about earlier today.
From Judge Jackson time?
Yeah, probably.
So you guys have not been audited since that?
Not,
Don't you think you're
I'm not
supposed to be
sure.
doing that, have an annual audit? Don't you have an annual audit?
I believe we do a self-audit.
No, an annual, legal annual audit from an outside vendor.
I'm not entirely sure if we have or not. I
We
know the big audit that I was aware of is the one that you referred to earlier tonight.
Well, Judge Jackson was very specific in her report regarding an audit and having a professional person come in and doing an audit. And if you're saying that you don't think anything's been done since then,
I do not sit down with the accountant or lawyer or go over any information in terms
Dan,
of auditing process. I really, I
you just
couldn't
made the comment that you believe it was back then when Judge Jackson did it.
That was the only, no, I said that was the only one that I was aware of because that was the time that I was
Well, I'm
starting.
quite sure that if the audit had some points of deficiency, they would be brought to your attention as the station manager. And if you haven't had anything in 4 or
well,
5 years,
I guess if that's the line of thinking you're going on, no points of issue have come to my attention.
so no financial concerns
No.
have been brought to your attention since the Judge Jackson
Nope.
report?
Nope.
And your board of directors, you go to the board of directors meeting?
I do, yeah.
And you never hear any discussion on that? They don't discuss an audit report, we need to do it, as file it, or have it on record?
They might have, I mean, we're talking about, we might have that discussion once a year in the last year and a half, 2 years. Not entirely sure if it's,
I think it was last year, or maybe 2 years ago, one of your board members, I don't want to use the wrong name, came up there, and the question was asked on that, and he used the term, there has been sloppy,
right, that was a term that you
bookkeeping.
used, yeah. Yeah.
okay? Sloppy bookkeeping, you know, and there you have a program telling people how to make money and how to raise money from your show, and sloppy bookkeeping for in-house activity. I mean, that's, see, these are the issues
well-
these are the issues of a concern.
To give my opinion on that, based on the audit that was done in 2007 or 8, I believe that we have brought it to a level where we've corrected all of our mistakes and sloppy bookkeeping, as was put before, to a level that we're very compliant and very open with being able to lay out the numbers for everyone. I'm not disagreeing that an audit needs to be done this year. I would actually would suggest to my board that after the move was
Could you
complete,
forward of the copy of the last 2 audits that have been done? So the list of board,
I can bring it to my board's.
I'd like to put that as part of a resolution, okay? That's public information anyway.
Sure, I mean, I can bring that to my board's attention. I don't disagree that an audit should be done, a self-audit should be done after the end of our move, so we can see where we are, and if everything was done.
Self-audits are great if you want to make the numbers work for yourself, but a reliable audit works best for people who have an outside independent person who has no vested interest at all.
I would probably think that the board would plan on doing an independent audit after the move. I don't
Well-
think anyone would disagree with that.
All right, thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Jean Martin, 10 Cumming Street, Medford, Mass. I respectfully disagree with you, Mr. Camuso. President Nixon had to turn over his resignation to the Attorney General, so there's always a head to go over. If the mayor can't do his job, I know you'd think I went off track there, but if the mayor can't do his job, then it's up to this body and the public to go over the mayor's head, to go to the appropriate authorities to get this straightened out. He needs to be held accountable, and so does Mr. Polari and this gentleman here. although he is just a manager. This issue is a matter of tax dollar pays, and where's the money? 200 grand a year, where's the money? And yes, an audit should be done, and it should be done right now, not when they get their books straightened out. It should have been done already. It is an issue of public voice. We don't have much of a public voice here in Medford, and maybe that's part of the reason why it's not really a high on the agenda of the mayor. We do want to speak out, and we do want to have our voices heard, and that's a venue. I've been to the Burlington TV station, Malden TV station, Winchester TV station. They are different. Some are more active than others. They do have diversity inside them. Some are used more than others. Malden is bustling. And it has a lot to do with the minority community being very active. They need the station for their voice to be heard where it's not heard on Channel 5 or 7. And Burlington's a little wealthier, doesn't have as much, or Winchester is a little wealthier, doesn't have as much participation. So there is diversity in that. But it still should be up and running. And we should have a public audit. It's a nonprofit. I would assume it's a nonprofit status, and therefore it should be open. His book should be open for me to go down to and see it right now. Me and Mr. Penta, Mr. Mayako, anyone. We should be able to go see what those books look like right now. They should be open to the public. Any nonprofit is open to the public. They have to answer to the IRS. They have to answer to these independent. Nothing against you, Mr. McGlynn. But if you can't do the job, then we need to go over your head, Mr. Mayor. It's not, for whatever reason, and it's not personal. It's just, this has been going on for too long. We don't have a public voice, and it just needs to stop. So there's two issues. Where is the money, 200 grand, and we are losing out on a avenue to have our voices heard, and we have a lot of minorities in this community. We have a lot more now than we ever did, and they would be very local and very active. And that would be just like Malden. Go down to Malden TV station. There's every nationality under the sun, I saw. And they use their local access because they don't have the same privileges we do to get the airtime on regular channels. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, you got those resolutions on the motion of Council Penta as amended by Councilor Del Russo and also amended by Councilor Longo Kern. Second one. Yeah, we'll take that one too. In the audit, request for the audit.
The operating budget.
Yes. On that motion, as amended, all those in favor? Roll call's been requested. Call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Camuso.
Wait. Well,
Be it resolved, the ongoing turmoil as to what is going on with the Channel 3 public access be discussed. Amended, that we get the last two audits from TV3 and in the current operating budget.
No, I also said I amended that original one to include that the mayor take the
Oh,
responsibility.
yeah.
You got that?
it's amended by Vice
It
President
was so
Del
long
Russo.
ago that I forgot about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's resolved, yeah.
all right.
Call the roll. Councilor Longo Kearns is there too.
Operating budget, yeah.
Call the roll.
Counsel Camuso. Yes. Counsel Cavviello. Yes. Vice President Del Russo. Counsel Kern. Yes. Counsel Marks. Yes. Counsel Penta. Yes. President Mayako.
On a vote of 7 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the paper is approved as amended.
Mr. President, Mr. Sano, question? I'm positive. Channel 3 is a recorded 501(c)(3)?
It is.
Nonprofit? That has an annual responsibility to file an audit report annually with the state.
I believe it's a requirement to file an annual report.
So those annual reports, which are filed by the state, is for public information, so,
They are filed, I think everything's
Okay,
current.
so
I
if
think
we
you can
could-
go online and download them.
so those audit reports, annual reports that are there, you should have them there for the last 2-3 years?
I believe anything that...
Different.
Anything that needs to be filed to make us compliant is filed and accurate, and
thank you.
filed on time.
So if we could have that, plus the
An
fact...
annual report
and-
is online.
At the audit
I believe so,
reports.
No, annual report.
No, I'm not talking about
It's a
annual, I'm
different-
talking about the audit,
they're
that's
different.
separate. I
I don't
understand.
believe, I think that all needs to be filed as an annual report.
No, talking about the annual report, not the audit, the annual report.
It's all online. I think I
Thank you. All right, while we're on suspension, this is offered by Council Camuso. Be resolved that the Department of Public Works repair the sidewalk in front of 16 Powder House Road in the interest of public safety. Council Camuso,
There's some elderly people there, Herb Rubin's house, if we can get that fixed as soon as possible.
a motion to Council Camuso for approval. All those in favor, all those opposed, that paper is approved. Council Caraviallo,
Mr. President, while we're on the suspension, I want to let everybody know, tomorrow at noontime here, the Chamber of Commerce is having our Veterans Lunch for all the veterans of the city of Medford. It's free for them, and any veteran who doesn't know about it is more than welcome to come down here tomorrow. Richard Denoya from the VFW will be the guest speaker
at noon,
at noontime at the City Hall chambers.
right there. Very good.